celebrities, well-known A-list celebrities who are exiting retirement because they need money.
A headline, I got to be honest, Ken, it caught me off guard. Jim Carrey came out of retirement because he needs money? Well, apparently he's not the only one. Al Pacino, Hugh Grant, Nicolas Cage, Harrison Ford, these folks, if they can't retire with all the cash that they've made, how can the average American? I want to bring in now Matson Money founder, CEO Mark Matson. And Mark, what is going on? Listen, we saw Mike Tyson. Like, we knew Mike Tyson had to take the fight and maybe not win the fight, but he was in a dire situation. No one thought Jim Carrey was in that situation. And people are looking at this like, how can I ever retire if these guys can't retire?
Well, it's a very difficult thing to do for.
Okay, that Tyson fight, if you're not familiar, Mike Tyson recently fought, I think it was Jake Paul on Netflix, and it was staged. I think it was staged, okay? There's no way. Even Mike Tyson at 75 is going to take Jake Paul. Anyway, that's a side note. I think I'm going to try to foreshadow here. I think what happens is that these celebrities, you probably guess too, let me know in the comments what you think, they probably live these overinflated lifestyles. So they might make 10, 20, 30 million dollars in 1 year, which most people will honestly never, ever sniff in their lifetime. I will probably never sniff in my lifetime. But their lifestyles are so overblown, these huge homes that they probably don't even know. They probably have rooms in their mansions they probably never walked into before. Or if they have, was when they first bought the house and they were touring it. And so now they have these maids, these cleaners, these staff people to maintain the grounds, to clean their mansions, and all these other things, and it's just a waste of money. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing I think anyways, because a lot of these A-listers, like Nicolas Cage, he was big. He was big back in the day. Back in the day, I mean, like 2000s-ish, 90s. Al Pacino, I mean, come on. I mean, Scarface, let's be honest.
Or apparently not only normal everyday Americans, but for celebrities. And it's because of the nature of money itself. Money can't make you happy. If you look throughout history, you can see people like Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, Prince, John Belushi, Howard Hughes, at the time the richest person on the planet. They were very miserable, very unhappy. You had Jim Carrey said, I have enough, I've done enough, I am enough, but apparently he doesn't have enough. And he's going to have to go back and work like many people that go into the retirement thinking they have enough, and they don't.
So, and we know, to your point, more people are working longer. They're coming back out of retirement. So is it a myth? I mean, is there a path to really retiring comfortably?
There is a path, but it's a difficult one and wrought with a lot of danger. So I always tell people, look, most people dramatically underestimate how much they're going to need. There's a rule of 4 in financial planning, 4%. It basically says for every $1 million, you can basically take $40,000 a year in income. And that's if you make absolutely no mistakes in your investing process. So, most people don't want to retire on $40,000. So look, if you're going to have $120,000 a year.
So what he's talking about is something called the Trinity study, and it's really popular among the financial independence retire early crowd. I still consider myself part of that crowd. I'm more interested in the FI part, which is the financial independence, more so than I am the RE part, which is the retire early. But I mean, it'd be nice to at least know that I can walk out anytime and not have to work and be okay. But that's what he's talking about when he says the Trinity study. And in a nutshell, what it means is what a lot of people in the FIRE community do is they determine how much they need to live off of when they retire. Then they divide that number that they need to retire off of comfortably by 25. And essentially whatever that number is, if they withdraw 4% of that number each year, that should last them for at least 30 years according to the study. And that 4% rate is called, or that 4% is called a safe withdrawal rate. So you can take out the interest and only touch the principal enough to where, or actually, only touch the principal enough to where it's going to last you for 30 years. And each year you're supposed to adjust that for inflation. So what you'll see a lot of financial independent retire early people do, FIRE people do, is they will say, okay, I need, like this guy said, $40,000 a year. So if you put $1 million into the stock market, based upon historical track record of the stock market, you can withdraw safely 4% of that, $40,000 each year, and you will not run out of money until 30 years. And really, most people don't even take out the full amount when they do this. And by the way, I'm not sure that a lot of people actually do this. It's more of a theory. There are some people, you can even see them on YouTube, that have retired and they use the 4% rule. I also have heard of people who are on YouTube have done it, but it's not very many people because, as he said, it's very difficult. And the reason I did quotations is because if you're making money on YouTube, which a lot of these people on YouTube, which a lot of these people who are talking about this on YouTube are, can you really say you're retired? So, but that's what he's talking about when he says the Trinity study.
You're going to need $3 million, and most people are dramatically under that. And then the second thing that they do is they take way too much risk in their investing process, often losing up to 50 to 75% of their money right when they need it the most.
Well, I know that you've created what you call the American Dream Experience. So how does that work?
Yeah, that's a 2-day workshop that we created to help people understand the dangers of how to toxic investing. We teach them the academics behind investing and then how to plan long term. Look, we're in a very precarious situation. From 95 to 2000, the S&P made on average of 22% a year. The NASDAQ made 45% a year. And then we had a 50% crash in growth stocks and a 75% crash in tech stocks. I'm not saying that history repeats itself, but it often rhymes. And people are going to have to get much broader diversification, analyze the risk in their portfolio, and truly understand the academics by how to do this instead of just gambling.
So then before I let you go, is there also a spending component to this? I mean,
okay, before they go into a potential spending component, I do want to touch on what he just said. And I don't think he used the word gambling when he's talking about the stock market. You can use the stock market in a gambling fashion, but the stock market is not the same as going and betting everything on red. So, but what he's saying is, at least what I'm interpreting and what I believe is, when it comes to stocks, you don't have control. So if you put $3 million into the stock market, first of all, congratulations, you did that. That's a huge feat to even do that. But let's say you put $3 million into the stock market over however long of time it takes. And then a 2008-ish type situation happens and the stock market crashes by 50%, 75%, and you retire at that time. You're in trouble, because it is about timing, because historically the stock market has gone up. There's been dips and rises, or peaks and valleys, and then huge drops like in '08 or the Great Recession, but typically it trends up. So if you can wait it out long enough, you're most likely going to get that money back. But if you retire right before a crash, I mean, you could be devastated if that's what you plan on living off of. And now you're withdrawing from half of what your portfolio was, or even 25% of what your portfolio was, and that's a big problem. So he's saying you need to diversify. Personally, I do own a couple properties. I mentioned in other videos. I have money in the stock market. I'm trying to start different businesses to diversify my income. So I do believe in this idea of diversification, but I also believe in being very specialized at first to make a way to earn money, specifically through learning a high-paying skill and then taking that money you earn from that high-paying skill to then invest that into different assets. Now he's about to get into what they said, I think, is spending, which is what my hypothesis was at the beginning of the video.
Is there sort of, because when the market's running the way you described, we also have what they call the wealth effect. And we feel like we've got a little bit extra because check out my account and we go and spend money, not from cash flow, but on the assumption that we've got it and all of a sudden it's not there.
Yeah, it's extremely dangerous. Look, the reality is that investing is a dangerous game. Playing the market itself is dangerous. And I always tell people, look, you want to invest in the market long term, not play it. No one knows when the next Boeing's going to hit. Who would have ever guessed Boeing would lose everything? They made planes that crashed themselves, doors flew off, had massive, terrible problems. Many companies have gone bankrupt. Broad diversification in large stocks, microcap, value, and international, and hedge your equity risk with high quality short-term fixed income. That way, if the market does take a 50% hit, you have cash to rebalance and buy that while it's low. And don't spend that. A lot of people are getting money from.
Okay, so he's talking about diversifying within equities, it sounds like. Diversifying within individual stocks, but broad, big companies, blue chip stocks. He didn't mention index funds, ETFs, but that's probably a good idea as well, because he's using fear language like it's scary, it's a risky business, and it's probably so he can make people pump the brakes and have a little bit more discretion when they're investing their money, not to just bet everything on one big company, i.e. Boeing, for example, who I guess around this time this video came out crashed or something. I'm not sure. I know they've been having a lot of problems, so I'm sure the stock price has plummeted. And he's talking about short-term. He's talking about stocks mainly and equities. When I'm talking about more so diversifying other areas. Not to say that investing in real estate is super easy and it's for everyone. It's not. So most people are going to invest in stocks. And really quickly go back to that Trinity study that I mentioned before. A lot of people who are in the FIRE community, what they'll do is they'll have a big reserve of cash so that they can ride it out. Because I think historically speaking, a market crash, not a bear market, that's a different thing. A market crash typically lasts, I think, 1 to 2 years. So if you have enough cash to live off of for that time, you should be able to ride out that crash and get back on track. So again, Cash is one way to diversify. It's not good to keep your money in cash, obviously, because of inflation, but it is a precaution against market crashes.
And let's face it, Jim Carrey always had the Groundhog movie, and the, you know, in case of emergency, break glass, right? All of those actors got like, I can do part 4 to that movie. So most folks don't have that availability, so let's do it the right way. Mark, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Okay, so there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comment section about what they're talking about. Is it just that these celebrities don't know how to manage their money and we shouldn't be looking to these celebrities as examples of the overall market? But I know a lot of us are struggling right now. So, I mean, it may be indicative of what we're all going through. And I know they're on a different level, especially these A-list celebrities with the amount of income they bring in versus someone like you or I. But we can all take a page out of the book and realize, okay, are we living above our means? I'm a firm believer in living below your means, at maximum within your means, but really below your means. And if you want to live a certain lifestyle, increase your means. Just because you live below your means doesn't mean you have to live super frugally or, you know, make your own clothes. It just means that you may need to earn more money, get a skill, and go from however much you're making now, double it, triple it, whatever. So that way you can still live below your means, but at a higher level. So with that being said, let me know what you think in the comment section. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.